Hi everybody and welcome to Start Me Up. My name is Beth Malachi and today we have Chris Dykes in studio, and he is from Infinity Learning, and he will be chatting to us about BEE compliance and how entrepreneurs can take advantage of that. Hi Chris and welcome to Start Me Up.
Morning Beth, how's it?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Very excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us. Before we start, let's just talk about Infinity Learning Center. What is it? Who is it for? And who do you hope to attract?
Great. So Infinity Learning is a company that helps mainly corporate businesses with their BEE strategies. And we help them design options, how to maximize the impact of BEE and so on. And then many of our clients give us money to use as part of their social development programs. And so we work with entrepreneurs, helping them with training, development, coaching, ideas, growing their businesses, etc. And we also run a number of social development programs aimed at people at school. One of our flagship programs is a program where we collect books from some of the more privileged schools around Johannesburg, and hopefully later from the rest of the country, which we then donate to township schools and farm schools.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
Now, let's talk about BEE.
Sure.
What is the status quo of BEE at the moment?
Well, I think the key thing here is that BEE has been around for a significant number of years now. But what's really important is that back in 2015, the codes changed. They're now called the amended BEE codes. And companies are in the process of struggling with the implementation of these codes. And as a result, huge opportunity is being opened for entrepreneurs throughout the country within the context of the fact that many of these corporates are now starting to embrace black entrepreneurs as viable business partners, far more than they used to do in the past. So very exciting.
And what are the opportunities for black entrepreneurs who would take advantage of this BEE changes that has happened?
The key opportunity is that within the new codes, companies are incentivized to integrate black entrepreneurs into their supply chain. So, let's take a standard example, whether it would be something simple like stationery or courier services or something along those lines, to a far more complex product offering. Maybe a consultancy or some supply of product or services that is an integral part of how businesses function. And the key at the moment is trying to enable the engagement between the entrepreneur and the corporate business.
And how does that engagement work?
Well, for the most part, the feedback that we get from a lot of our entrepreneurs is that corporate is not open to engaging. At the other side, the corporates are saying we don't know how to find the entrepreneurs. And so a lot of a big part of the view that we take is that if the entrepreneurs are hungry and they're looking for business, the key is for them to get proactive in the sales environment and start engaging with the entrepreneur, with the corporate companies by saying, this is what we have to offer. We're able to add value to your company. Can we have a discussion about what that role would look like and what we can do and what the terms of engagement would be?
And then the accessibility between, let's say for example, just me as a normal entry-level entrepreneur. Sure. How do I access the companies that could help?
Okay, look, in many instances, it's not just straightforward. There is a level of complexity, but that complexity is dealt with and overcome through practice, through time, getting to understand your target market a little bit better, getting to understand your sales process a little bit better, and many instances, the simple starting point would be start building a list of the potential companies that you could approach.
Yes.
Figure out how you would do it. In the most instances, it's going to be through a cold call sales process, and then get on the phone. Many entrepreneurs talk to us about the fact that they often can't afford the kind of costs involved. But there's a number of options available, including the telecoms premium option, or even the unlimited calls, and strategies where you share those costs. So these are not insurmountable barriers, but they do require, and they do ask of the entrepreneurs a level of being proactive.
And then now let's talk about, you mentioned that you guys help entry-level entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
At what level should they be? Should it be that they've already registered their companies, or they just, starting out with no registration whatsoever, and you guys help them throughout the way?
Yeah. Okay, so first of all, from an enterprise development and supplier development perspective, the BEE codes stipulate that in order for us to help the entrepreneur, they need to already have a registered business, and they need to already be doing some kind of work. And so from an Infinity Learning perspective, what we do is try and work with as many entrepreneurs as possible by giving them training and mentoring and coaching, etc., aimed at transferring knowledge and skills and tools that can be used in this process of growth. And we're not really that concerned about what level the entrepreneur is at. Our main concern and our main interest is working with entrepreneurs that are hungry for success, hungry to achieve growth, and in many instances hungry to escape cycles of poverty. And the exciting thing at the moment is that, personally, I believe that there's never been a greater time for black entrepreneurship in this country. Not only are we meeting some really dynamic and fantastically amazing people, but the market through BEE and other awareness streams are opening up, which is creating that accessibility.
And through your engagement with all those entrepreneurs that you meet on a day-to-day basis, what are some of the common challenges that you have noticed that's going on around a lot of these entrepreneurs? Yeah,
look, the obvious one is, of course, funding.
Okay.
Most entrepreneurs that we speak to say that funding is the barrier. I tend to take a different view, in that in many instances I'm not sure that funding is the main reason or the main barrier. If certainly a sale is made and let's say a company is engaged around supplier development or enterprise development, or let's say an early payment is made up front, then in many instances we'll deal with the kind of challenges that entrepreneurs are looking at. The reason why funding is not available is also often because businesses are not ready. They're unprepared to get the funding that is needed.
Yes.
And so the challenge that I put on the table with many of the entrepreneurs we work with is to say, how do you deal with the issue of funding, rather than using funding as the reason for no growth or no success?
Could it be that the businesses are either not investable, or they don't have their house in order, or?
In many instances, it's probably a combination of both. At the same time, we are meeting companies that do have quite a big opportunity in terms of companies investing in them, or certainly using supplier development or enterprise development as a means of helping these companies to get going and get to a point of sustainability. As a case study, one of the entrepreneurs that we're working with, an amazing woman. She is just so dynamic. She recently convinced or sold one of her clients to invest in a small PPE factory, and she specializes in PPE for women, which is quite a niche market in South Africa.
It's very niche, yeah.
Very niche, and certainly meeting a massive need in the country, because women are not engaged and addressed in this sort of typical mining manufacturing environment, and so personal protective equipment is very important. And now that the essence or the base of the factory has been created, she's able to offer them an alternative supply to the typical Chinese suppliers, and I see her business growing. I see it just being a massive success in South Africa.
Oh.
And funding was not an issue for her.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, there's multiple other issues that people face. Often it's a case of just not knowing what to do next, sort of feeling like we're hitting our head against a glass ceiling. And in that instance, a lot of our workshops are aimed at sort of discussing these issues and offering solutions and building skills and knowledge that then become the mechanism to get beyond these ceilings.
And then when it comes to sales, because
Sure.
I know that a lot of entrepreneurs, they've got all they've got it all together,
Sure.
but they really struggling to make sales, or they only break even.
Yeah, it's true. It is a big problem, and in many instances, and once again, I do believe that that the sales skills have to be developed, and that when I ask the question, are you making calls? How many calls are you making? And often it'll be like 1 or 2 times a week. Whereas in that instance, that company would need to be making 200 or 300 calls a week. I asked the question, how many times are you contacting the individual or the company? And they'll say, yeah, after 2 times I give up. Whereas statistics will show that the most successful salespeople all over the world are people that call clients 6, 7, 8 times in a row, and eventually build a relationship and the trust that is necessary to get the appointment. It also could be that people are approaching the wrong type of profile customers and so on. Sometimes the guys are making huge amounts of efforts. They just need to change in some way how they're having the phone call. So it's not to say that making the sale is not possible. It's to say, how do you get better at making the sale?
Well, I always hear a lot of founders saying that they can't sell.
Sure.
So they would most likely rely on hiring somebody else, or hiring an external consultant to come and make the sale for them.
That's true.
But how effective is that really?
Look, there's many companies all over the world that have used consultants successfully or have employed people successfully. I think the question becomes, for the entrepreneur, do you have the resources to employ the right person, first of all? Second of all, as the owner of the company, you're the one who's most likely to make the initial sales and build the initial relationships. And one of the things that a lot of people say to me as well, I wasn't born a salesperson, or I'm not the right salesperson personality, and so on.
Yes.
And I think the question becomes, in that instance, if you look at how many billion people there are all over the planet, there are people that are making sales from all types of personalities and all types of backgrounds. And the question becomes, are you ready to make the sale, first of all, and have you taken enough time to build the skill to make the sale? And I believe that everybody can be a successful salesperson. It's really just a case of your commitment and hunger to get there.
Yes.
And you finding the right person, you're offering the right product or service, and that's where the magic happens.
Yeah, because a lot of them would give you some examples and say, no, because I don't have money to hire a new sales consultant.
Yeah.
This is why sales are not going up in my company.
Yeah.
My business is still very small for me to bring in another person full time, or either hire a freelancer to carry on the sales department and stuff like that.
No, it's true. And that's obviously the case where the individual becomes responsible for selling in their own right. And I think, if we go back to the point of BEE, where we started today, BEE is not the answer in its own right. If you walk into a company and you're not ready, and your company is not able to deliver value for whatever reason, then you're going to struggle. But certainly, I believe that BEE is a massive enabler of change in this country, and it's the reason why I've dedicated the last sort of 10 years of my life to trying to drive transformation and growth in this country. And so once a company has the essence or has the magic that they were able to offer through the enabler of BEE and the hunger of the person to get out there and meet potential clients, the capacity that we have to fast track this change exists. The platform is there.
Wow. And now I just want to talk a little bit about white-owned companies. How can they take advantage of BEE in order to scale their companies, or it might be in the initial stage as well? Sure.
Obviously ownership is a massive talking point in the country at the moment. If we look at the kind of level that many of the entrepreneurs, certainly entry-level entrepreneurs, are at, collaborations and partnerships are certainly on the table. We're currently working with 2 of our clients in the IT environment that have expressed a very serious interest to partner with black-owned companies or black individuals for that matter. And one of the concerns is that somebody comes on board and they don't pull their weight and they don't help the company to grow, or they start to change how the business is run, which has a negative impact. So these are concerns, but there are multiple examples of where successful partnerships have been made and where growth has been, significant synergies have been achieved through these partnerships. And my belief is that for an entrepreneur that is interested in forming these partnerships, that has the vision for this level of synergy, first of all, it's about positioning yourself as a potential partner, but at the same time, making sure that you understand the value that you bring to a relationship.
Of course, yes. It needs to be a two-way road.
Absolutely. And the more effectively you're able to show that value and drive that value, and possibly even get involved in the business for a couple of months to prove the essence of and the viability of the relationship, go for it. Absolutely, make it happen, but be proactive.
Yes. And how do we cultivate relationships that will stand the test of time?
Sure.
Because it's very difficult to just spot somebody right away and say, I'm going to make you my partner. I'm going to make you, I'm going to work with you on a full-term project. How can I spot the relevant partner that I can bring into my company?
Sure. I mean, look, as we said earlier, there are issues, and certainly there are a number of concerns in the space. And I think the key is really understanding, first of all, what the needs are of the business and where the growth opportunities are. And then to say, how do I, as an individual, as an entrepreneur, contribute to that growth through my skill base, through my commitment, passion. I often think that the word passion is overused, but the more we embrace what passion really means and we bring that to the business, that's where the synergy comes alive.
Yes.
But until we've figured that out, until we've built that skill, until we've understood the business, until we've built the relationship with the individual, there's potential issues that are quite significant. The upside, of course, is really the dream, and it's happening. There are multiple examples of where successful partnerships have been formed.
Yes.
And so obviously it's a case of finding the way through the maze to get there.
Yes. And then just to wrap up on the BEE subject,
sure.
Do you have any final words that you can say just for advice out there for people who are not tapping into the space?
Sure. I think the key is that, through Infinity Learning, we've worked with thousands of people over the last couple of years. And, many people that we engage with come to a workshop and then they'll leave without doing anything in their business. It's a big problem. Obviously, we're meeting people that are being proactive and that are achieving great results, fantastic results. It's massively exciting to watch it happen, and certainly gives me, such great joy. But from a BEE perspective, if we go back to these people that we've worked with, let's say out of a group of 100 people, our experience has been that less than 10, possibly 5 people actually have any kind of idea of what BEE is about and how it works and where the opportunity is and the role that we're playing beyond being a black individual or a black business. And so the sort of the final words, as you're saying, would be a case of take the time to learn how BEE works, and then build a strategy around how you can integrate BEE into your business and use it as a tool. And in this regard, we would love to have as many people as possible on our BEE workshops. We'd love to share some of that framework, some of those structures, to fast track that growth.
Yes.
And certainly, in that kind of forum, any questions that are raised, we'd love to engage on these questions, and be part of a much larger transformation space.
And how do people get access to your workshops, and how do they get hold of you?
Great. Well, first of all, welcome to have a look at our website, www.infinitylearning.co.za. But probably the easiest thing to do firstly would be to email us.
Okay.
And it's info@infinitylearning.co.za.
Okay. Thank you so much for
You're welcome.
your inside overview. Certainly learned a lot. And just to say goodbye, do you have anything that you can advise all the entrepreneurs out there who are just sitting at home? All they have is just an idea and they just don't know where to start.
I think the key advice is to really question the value that you're able to offer to companies and what you can do on a weekly basis to make the change. So a quote, and it's my quote, I'm very proud of this quote, is a little bit, a lot, not a lot, a little bit. And basically what that means is every single week do something to be proactive. Even if that something is to form a group or a business group with friends in your area and discuss business opportunities, discuss growth, discuss the challenges that you are experiencing, what some of the solutions are around this. Many people tell me they've got access to internet is a problem, but there are multiple sites around Johannesburg that offer free Wi-Fi. Get to those sites.
Yes.
And start to download learnings. There are millions and millions and millions of videos on sales and other business related topics. And if you're spending, let's say, 2 to 3 hours a week studying, hopefully more, by the end of the year you've amassed a huge knowledge base, and that knowledge base starts to have an impact on our capacity to be successful.
Absolutely.
And certainly our growth. So yeah, that's, I think, probably the biggest thing right now is be proactive. And as we said, as part of Infinity Learning, we run all sorts of workshops. We'd love to have people there. Our business simulation workshop is used by some of the top business schools, not only in South Africa, but internationally, as part of executive growth. Feedback we get from our BE workshop is amazing. Sales, finance, cost management, project management, safety. We run a whole series of programs. And it's all part of this drive for knowledge, and it's all part of this drive for skills, for building people's capacity to embrace this opportunity that exists at this point in time.
Wow, that is amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
we really need that in the country. I mean, the more informative we are, the better. The
Great.
better we grow as a country, economically as
Absolutely.
well.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I really,
Thank you for the invite.
appreciate it. And remember, we do weekly interviews with business influencers to help you dream, grind, and achieve. Remember to subscribe to our channel, like, and comment below. Don't forget to dream, grind, and achieve.